everybody. Today we're going to be looking at exactly what is a beehive, showing you the similarities and the differences between our flow hive and a traditional Langstrota hive. This behind me is a flow hive, and this is a traditional Langstrota hive, which is the most widely used hive in the world. They are in many ways very similar, as the flow hive uses a traditional Langstrota design with some modifications that allow us to harvest the honey without opening the hive and disturbing the bees. The major components of a beehive are a bottom board, a brood box, brood frames, a queen excluder, a honey super, an inner cover and a lid. So let's take a closer look at a brood box. So the flow hive has the same brood box or brood nest, as it's sometimes called, as the traditional Langstrota hive. The brood box is where the queens, the drones and the workers live, and the queen lays her eggs here. The word brood refers to the eggs, the pupae and the larvae that will develop to become fully grown bees. Brood frames usually have a variety of bees at different stages, along with some pollen and nectar stores. Mostly here in Australia and in milder climates, one brood box is often enough, as for many months of the year there is a nectar flow. But depending on how long and intense the nectar flow is in your area, it will change how much space you need to give your bees. It's about making sure your bees have got sufficient space in their home, but not too much space that they can't defend themselves against pests and diseases. It seems to be more common practice in the United States to use a double brood box. We encourage the use of foundationless frames in the brood box to allow the bees to build their own comb. Many beekeepers use wax foundation with a pre-stamped cell size for the bees to build on. However, there's growing evidence that allowing your bees to build the brood comb naturally results in healthier colonies. There are many different ways and methods for keeping your bees. For every 2 beekeepers, there'll be 3 opinions. Remember, connecting with your local bee group will give you the best knowledge and support for what works in your area. Now let's take a look at the honey super. The honey super is where the flow hive and the Langstrota hive differ, although they serve the same function as a place for the bees to store only honey. With the use of an excluder, the queen stays in the brood box at the bottom, so she cannot lay eggs in the honey super. The flow hive super has the unique flow frames and the custom design box with the rear and side viewing windows. Being able to see into your hive, check on your girls and see when the frames are ready for harvest. The flow frames are partially formed food grade plastic, honeycomb matrix that allows you to harvest the honey by turning a key. The cells then split horizontally while the bees are undisturbed on the comb surface. The honey flows down and out of the hive and into a jar. Fresh, raw, unfiltered honey ready for use on your table, all without opening the hive. If you'd like to see Cedar taking us through all of the individual elements of the flow hive, click here. A traditional Langstrota hive uses the same frames in the honey super as it does in the brood box, which you then have to go through an extraction process to get your honey. This consists of opening your hive, removing the frames, brushing off all the bees, taking them to a processing shed or a kitchen, cutting off the wax cappings with a heated knife, spinning the frames in a centrifuge, filtering out the dead bees and wax, taking the frames back to the hive, and then having to clean up all the mess. We get asked a lot if taking the honey from the supers is stealing the bees' food. Bees are capable of collecting large amounts of nectar when there are lots of flowers blooming, and these periods are known as a honey flow. When there's a good honey flow on, it's possible to harvest many kilos of honey in just a few weeks without leaving the bees hungry. That being said, it's important to note that over winter you must leave the super full of honey, so the bees have food when there's none to be found in their surrounds. In cold climates, your bees may need more than one super full of honey to survive winter. It's vital that you consult your local beekeepers to ensure you're preparing your hives appropriately for winter in your area. Finally, it's important to know with both types of beehives, you must regularly check your bees by doing a brood inspection, making sure your bees are in good health. How often this is needed depends on the area in which you live. Here on the northeast coast of Australia, we recommend a thorough brood inspection about twice a year. We'll be demonstrating how to do a brood inspection in a later episode. To keep up to date with all the latest episodes, please subscribe to the Flowhive YouTube channel. And if you have any questions or suggestions, pop them in the box below and we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as we